morning, let's take a few minutes and review a piece of equipment that I bought a while back, and I think it's only fair that, when we buy things, we do a review. I don't see too many of these on YouTube of some of the obscure stuff, but it's only fair that we share information with each other. Maybe we can make more informed purchasing decisions and maybe avoid some bad decisions. Anyway, here's a kit that I just bought. Oh, it's been a couple of months ago. It's made by a company called Majestic, and by the way, I didn't even realize they made these in the United States, but they do. Here, this is the case everything comes in. It's really not a bad leather case. In fact, it has a pretty good zipper, one of the better that I've seen. It's a synthetic or plastic zipper. Seems to be well done, well executed, double stitching, kind of nice case. I like the synthetic zipper as compared to, say, the metal ones, which always seem to corrode and get hung up. But this is the Southord case for the beginner pick set. Anyway, inside of that case, you'll find these tools, and I bought these from UK Bump Keys for, everybody wants to know the price, so let's throw it out there on the table. 38 pounds, and then plus shipping and handling, and as I recall, that was about another 8 or 10 pounds, give or take a little bit. And UK Bump Keys calls these the, quote, high-tech wriggler-rakes. And I've seen them by a variety of different names. I mean, it makes sense when you look at the bidding on these things. It's a logical name. Computer-generated picks, high-tech picks, any number of names, but they're all made by the same company. They just come with different names. Anyway, you can see you get 8 of these rakes, each of them with different jiggles and then, of course, they throw in some tension wrenches. You get a really fat one. I don't know, double-ended. It's really fat. I don't know what you could possibly use that in, but you do get that. And then you get 2 other tension tools. And these are probably more realistic to what we might be using. And then, of course, you get a shutter tool, which is kind of cool. That's probably a pretty high quality. At least it seems to be made from spring steel. But let's take a little bit closer look at some of these picks. I'm just going to look at one of them. The case, quite honestly, is the most impressive part of the whole thing. When you take these out of the case, though, and begin to look at them a little bit closer, the handles are not really well executed. They're kind of rough. The edges in particular are rough, and they're just riveted on with these cheap brass rivets, rough on one side and then rounded on the other. So they're not level on the top. It sticks out just a little bit, and none of them are the same. They're all slightly different. So fit and finish is not really anything to be. See if I can get a close-up of that. Nothing to brag about in terms of fit and finish. When I look at the wiggler, the working end itself, they're all very, very similar, and I've used them on a wide variety of locks, and quite honestly, I really can't tell any difference between this and, say, a snake rake or a Bogota or a worm rake. I mean, they all work, to me at least, pretty much the same. Now, bear in mind, I'm trying to remain impartial, but I'm giving you my experiences, and I'm not necessarily a raker. I'm more of a picker. I might use a rake to get a fault set because I work with high security locks, and people that are interested in raking maybe would find this a little more useful than I have. But before you invest that kind of money, I think it's important you take a look at the tools very closely and understand why I have this opinion. When we're raking, usually it's a very, I don't want to say violent activity, but it's a vigorous. We're either putting it in and then we're rocking it up and down, trying to simulate the bidding of a key at random, or we're, as like a Bogota, we're doing the up and down and we're shoving it in and out. Again, trying to get those pins to the shear line. And there's high lows. There's just I can't even find the right word. I can't imagine that we would need 16 different picks to simulate, but if the computer came up with it, then it must be right? Well, let's look at from a practical aspect. Does it work? And my experience has been no. This works no better than the other picks I mentioned. But when I look closely again at the pick itself, they are not finished well. They're very rough, and through the course of using it, I'm going to turn it sideways and demonstrate very quickly. That's how fragile these things are. They are not well they may be well designed, but they're not well constructed, at least from quality materials. So when you're thinking about spending 38 pounds, I think I would prefer to spend the money on beer. Quite honestly, to put it in a word, these are crap. So I would avoid them unless you are a collector of picks and are determined to own Majestics before they go out of business. There's absolutely no reason to buy these high-tech wiggler rakes. Anyway, thanks for your time. Everybody stay safe and stay legal.